So Hollow Knight Silksong is a pretty hard game, but what if everything is doubled? Doubled bosses, double enemies, everything doubled. So today we're gonna beat the game while everything is doubled. I'm on a challenge to complete a bunch of Hollow Knight Silksong challenges before I can hit 1,000 subscribers, and if I can't do that, I have to beat the game without getting hit. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Bruh. So obviously, basically, you know where we spawn. We spawned in a moss grotto. I bind it. We're doing some more parkour, and look, everything is doubled. The bugs, the enemies, every boss, everything. I know I said that before. Even the mod itself says it's difficult, but not for me. But anyways, we entered over here, rested at this bench, and then now we're gonna fight 2 moss mothers. Yes, 2. Usually 1 is incredibly easy, but 2, this is the first time I've struggled with moss mother. Usually I don't struggle with moss mother at all. I beat it first try. This time I did have a little difficulty fighting them because more rocks spawned, more little bugs spawned. So you know, it's 2 of them doing their own thing. One is jumping towards me, one is spawning rocks in, one is spawning little bugs, one is also jumping towards me. They jump at the same time. It got pretty hectic. There's so many bugs, so many rocks, 2 moss mothers, but I ended up defeating one, and then I also defeated the other. Yeah. Then we entered Bone Bottom. We also entered like the Marrow part, and look, this wave of mini bosses, there's 4 of them at one time, and in the end there's 2 of these. And in the regular game, if I defeat one, the path would open up. I have to defeat both of them for the path to open up. Look, I'll show you. I defeated one, see, the path still didn't open up. I have to defeat all of them for the path to open up. Boy, if you don't... Can we be friends already? But anyways, after defeating the wave of mini bosses, we did more parkour in the Marrow area. We met Chakra, and then I went to Moss home. I made it to this section over here, which I binded, and I finally learned the Silk Spear technique. And then now we're about to fight 2 Bell Beasts. Fighting 2 Bell Beasts at once was wild from the start. They both came in charging in, shaking the whole arena, and barely giving me any space to move. Every time I tried to hit one, the other would just rush in from the side, so I had to stay on the move the whole fight. Their slams and bell throws filled the arena fast, and the bouncing bells made it hard to stand still for even a second. I had to time every dodge and stay patient, waiting for short openings where both of them would space out apart. It wasn't unfair, just constant pressure that kept me locked in from the start to finish. The sound of both of them ringing and the floor shaking made me feel like the fight was just so loud. I also just kept dying over and over and over and over again. Like, I did not expect a Bell Beast to be this difficult. I thought Moss Mother was difficult. The Bell Beast is difficult. I used to be able to no-hit this boss, but after I defeated one of them, and I also defeated the other one, and now they're both gone. I went Super Saiyan over here. We entered like the Silk thing. You know, every time we defeat a boss that's related to Silk, the Bell Beast became our friend. We also entered like the Deep Docks area. I just basically did some more parkour, dodging these enemies over here, jumping up into like the far field section, and I entered this wave of mini bosses again. This time it was even harder than the last one because it's bugs. They throw everything at once. I made it to this section, which I binded, and I finally learned the Swift Step, aka the dodge technique. And when I actually fought Lace, the fight was glitched. I was trying for like an hour, it just didn't work. I just showed a clip of me beating Lace normally, just one of them. I didn't want to show the whole fight because I don't want to bore you guys. I really tried to get it work, but it just didn't. But basically after that, after the Lace incident, we entered Farfield. This is like the grass area of the entire game. It's a really big area full of grass. We walked across this bug over here. We went and did some more parkour. I talked to my boy Jimmy over here. I promised him a wish that I actually will keep, and now I have to hunt for 25 spine core. Let's do this. After I got 25 spine core, I went back to him and granted the wish, and he gave me the Drifter's Cloak. Now I'm able to glide down, and then now we're gonna fight 2 fourth Chauruses. Fighting 2 fourth Chauruses at once kicked up the pressure to a whole nother level. Each giant robot hits with big swipes and slams that break the platform beneath me, so as soon as one of them starts crushing the ground, I'm scrambling to avoid falling into lava. They also use their arms to swipe up across the arena and send molten rocks down from the ceiling. With 2 of them, those attacks overlap. One will break the floor while the other one is sending rocks, or both of them will try to smash from different sides. I realized what I just said. The trick is always aiming at their heads. They only take damage there, but getting a chance to jump up and hit feels rare when you're dodging constant danger. I had to watch both machines and guess which move would land first, staying in motion and not trusting any spot for more than a second. Every moment in the fight felt heavy. One slip meant falling or getting clipped by debris. Beating both of them felt and patience. But anyways, I dropped the rock on both of their heads and got a double kill. Look how tired I am. Anyways, after that, we just did some more parkour, going up whirlpools, and we finally entered the dead and gray area, which is Greymore. I rested at this bench, and I entered another wave of mini bosses. This time it was 4, not 2, and then the lobster one came out. This one isn't too difficult, but 2 of them obviously made it difficult. I did die a few times, but I ended up coming back and getting my get back, eliminating both, and then the pathway opened up. I went along this pathway over here, and then now we're gonna fight 2 more wings. 2 more wings at once made the whole fight non-stop moving. They both stayed in the air almost the entire time, diving and circling from different sides, which made it hard to focus on either one. Every time I dodged one dive, the other one would come in right after, forcing me to keep jumping and changing directions just to stay safe. The small arena didn't help either, since their wings and wind attacks covered most of the screen. It was all about timing. It was all waiting for that small window to land a few hits after they swooped down. But once I started keeping track of both of them at the same time, the fight became all rhythm. Dodge, hit, move, repeat. It was one of those fights that never slows down but feels good once everything clicks. Basically, after I clapped up both Marrow wings, I entered the Shellwood area, and this part is just all about parkour. It's non-stop jumping, climbing, and climbing. We entered the Sister Splinter boss fight, and then this is one of the hardest fights in the entire game. Fighting two Sister Splinters at once turned the arena into full chaos. Even one of them is already fast enough, but with two, there is barely any time to breathe. They moved in sync sometimes, spinning across the floor with those sharp blades, forcing me to keep dodging non-stop. Every attack came with a follow-up. If I jumped to avoid one, the other one was already swinging right there when I landed. Their patterns kept mixing together, so it felt like there was no safe sides of the arena. And when their little minions spawned in, the fight became even harder. I had to dodge everything, their spikes and their little minions, and I had to keep myself into one closed arena because there was vines everywhere. But anyways, after defeating both of them, I finally felt a big relief. But we then made it to this section over here, which I binded, and I finally learned the cling grab. Now I'm able to wall climb. I went back to the Widow boss fight, and let me tell you this right now, this was the hardest thing in the entire game. I don't care if you think Grandmother Silk is harder. No, trust me, there is bells swinging, there is two Widows coming at me. This is the hardest one ever. This boss fight took me like 2 hours, maybe even longer than that. I just kept on dying over and over and over and over again. I didn't even think this fight was possible since there's so much stuff going on. I'm sitting here thinking, how am I gonna beat this fight? But I just went back in and locked in. This is like my 50th attempt on trying to beat this fight, and I finally did it. I defeated one of them. I kept sticking my needle inside of him even though the other one was still trying to attack me. These guys are something else, man. But I finally learned the ability to sing. That's why I'm gonna drop it, and we enter like the silk web thing. You guys know every time we defeat a boss that's related to silk, and for some reason I'm behind the bench. But anyways, after that, we basically enter like the Sinner's Road area. This area is full of just poison water. Obviously, we just did some more parkour going up. We also enter like the mist area. This is like the illusion part. You had to find 3 singing birds and sing them a song. They really enjoyed my song. But anyways, it led us to the exhaust organ over here, which I rested at this bench right here. Then now we're gonna fight 2 phantoms. Fighting 2 phantoms at the same time was tricky but still fair. From the start, both of them moved around fast, swinging their spears and slamming down hard, and I had to keep jumping and dodging to avoid getting hit. One would be coming from the left side while the other one was hitting from the right, so I had to stay focused on both of them at the same time. The arena was small, which made it even harder because I couldn't just run away or hide. I had to wait for the right moments to strike, hitting quickly and backing off before they attacked again. They also did that big slam where they jumped up and came down hard, and if you weren't careful, it could hit you before you even think you were safe. But finally, I defeated them and I learned the parry technique. I did some more parkour going up and we entered Act 2, meeting Lace. She yaps at us again. I rested at this bench over here and I finally got the white key, which I'm gonna need later. Then now we're gonna fight 4 Cogwork dancers. Yup, not 2, but 4 of them. Run, run, run. Fighting 4 Cogwork dancers at the same time was pure chaos. They moved fast and attacked one after another, spinning and slashing across the arena with barely any time to breathe. Every time I tried to get close to one, another one would just swoop in and hit from the side or above. The arena felt tiny with all of them moving at once, so I had to stay moving constantly, jumping and dashing and finding small windows to land the hits. Their combos come quick, and if I got greedy or stayed in one spot too long, I would get hit immediately. I had to keep track of all 4 of them at the same time, waiting for a brief moment where 2 or 3 of them weren't in the way to strike safely. Even with all the pressure, once I focused on the rhythm of their attacks and time my moves, the fight started to feel manageable. Every hit counted and I had to stay patient and calm until the last one finally fell. I also spoke to these guys over here, and then I used the white key. Do you remember why I needed it? I went the elevator down and I entered the white ward. I also made it to this section over here, which I binded, and I finally learned the claw line. Now I'm able to zip through strings. Then we enter like high halls area. This is just more parkour and more claw line grip skill, and I entered the hardest wave of mini bosses ever. There was like 6 or 7 of them at the same time. This is one of the most annoying ones ever. I've died like over 10 times here and I still can't get it down. Now this wave of mini bosses basically just gives me nightmares. Usually by themselves they're super annoying, but with this double enemies mod they're even more annoying. There's like 20 of them at one time, and at the end I have to fight these 2 big bosses. This is just the first one, and then after that there's like 4 of them at one time. I did die a few times here, but I defeated them and I went inside and I learned the conductor's melody. This is one of the 3 melodies that I need. And then now we're gonna fight Trobio, and the Trobio boss boss fight is glitched again. I tried to speak to it multiple times. It just gave me this animation where it's about to speak to them and it just doesn't work. So yeah, I'm really sorry. The mod itself says bosses with like dialogue don't really work very well. I tried to get it to work multiple times, but anyways, the Trobio boss fight itself isn't really that hard since I only have to defeat one of them. There's a bunch of fireworks, bunch of smoke bombs coming at me. Anyways, I finally landed the last and final hit. Bro started tweaking like as always. I also obtained the sacred cylinder over here, and I went back to the Whispering Vaults and I played my song over here, which he really enjoyed, and I finally learned the Vault Keeper's melody. It's showtime! Which leaves us only one melody left. Anyways, we entered Cogwork Core, aka the Path of Pain. I did this music puzzle over here. After that, I learned the Architect's melody. I went back to these three guys, sang them a song, and then we went up the elevator, and then now we're gonna fight two laces the second time. Fighting two laces at the same time before the final fight was intense from start to finish. They moved faster than I expected, slashing and dashing across the arena in a way that never let me stop. One would swing, then the other would spin right after, so I had to pay attention to both at once. Their attacks had small pauses, and I had to wait for those moments to land hits. I had to dash, roll, and jump constantly while looking for openings, and even then the window to attack was still very short. The arena felt tight with both of them moving at once, so I couldn't just focus on one. I had to divide my attention and react quickly. Tools and distance attacks helped a little, but most of the fight was about patience, timing, and keeping calm under constant pressure. And the fight pushed me to stay completely locked in until the last lace finally fell. Even though it was hard, it was also satisfying because I had to stay alert the entire time and make every movement count. After the fight ended, I spoke with them and we went Super Saiyan over here. We entered like the Silk thing, and we also entered the Crowdle, and then now we're gonna challenge Grandmother Silk. Or should I say Grandmother Silks? Fighting two Grandmother Silks at the same time was one of the hardest fights so far, and it kept me moving from the very start. Both of them attacked constantly, shooting needles across the arena, slamming down hard, and spinning silk that blocked paths, and it felt like there was nowhere safe to stand. Whenever one of them rushed in forward, the other one was just hitting from the opposite side, so I had to watch both at once and react immediately. Their attacks overlapped a lot. I had to time every dodge, dash, and jump perfectly, staying aware of the space around me while waiting for the tiniest openings to strike. The arena felt small with all the moves happening at once, and there was moments where I had to completely back off and reset my position to avoid getting trapped. Hitting them safely took patience and timing, and every strike felt earned because I had to wait for the right moment to react instantly. The fight demanded focus the entire time, and even a second of hesitation could cost the run. When the last attack finally landed and both of them fell, it felt like a huge accomplishment because it was non-stop movement, non-stop pressure, and non-stop thinking. There was no moment to relax, and the combination of their attacks made this fight feel one of the longest, hardest, and most intense fight I'd ever faced. Anyways, I felt like I was at the end of the fight, dodging every needle and every rock that came from above. Every spike that churned up and every attack they both threw at me, I dodged all of them, and I finally landed the last and final hit. I kept sticking my needle inside of her, and then boom, the fight is over. And that is Hollow Knight Silksong with everything doubled. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and let me know in the comment section below if you guys want more challenges like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Please don't ever make me fight Widow again.